Hello, folks. Welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. Ram Ramji or Jai Shri Ram. I won't say anything else after that. Very odd and disturbing news coming through. I don't understand this at all. Who is behind it? You get people like Prakash Raj, a well-known villain in Southern Indian movies. And then you've got somebody based in Germany of Indian origin called Dhruv Rathi. Now these guys, why are they so horrendously anti-Modi? I mean, they're putting out their views, yes. Nothing against that. But why are they so twisted? I mean, Modi may have made 60 promises and he's delivered on 50 of them. They don't say anything about that, but they will judge him by the 10 he couldn't keep. And there were reasons why. Have they forgotten, for instance, COVID? 2 years are wasted because of that, and we still haven't got clear of it. Everything else went by the board. All energy was channeled towards controlling, stopping, and possibly even eradicating COVID-19. Now, what happened? Did they forget that? Or did it never happen? I mean, what kind of people are they? Damn it, give credit where due. Is it too much to expect? You just can't do that. You can't bear to say, well done, Mr. Modi. Why? Is somebody paying you for it? Is it George Soros' Open Society Foundation who's getting through to people like Mr. Prakash Raj? Also to Mr. Dhruv Rathi? Who's paying them? Who's feeding them this odd sort of information, which doesn't make sense? A man who's worked his socks off to do things, and Prakash Raj and Rathi says, not even one thing that he has delivered on. Okay? How many houses has he built for poor people? 40 million of them? How many did the Congress do in 70 years? Couple of 100,000 maybe. Then there's one big switch in our mindset. The toilets that have been constructed for poor people, especially in villages and in slum areas. You go to the biggest slum probably in the world, Dharavi in Mumbai. You now have the biggest toilet complex, bathing, toiletries and this, that and the other, basically for them, so that they don't have to go out in the open for defecation and things like this. Do you know what it means to people? Try going out with a mug or something in your hand and see how you feel, and see what people have had to go through for decades and centuries maybe, and nobody's ever thought of them. Has he not delivered on that? Add to it the entire, how shall I put it, process of digitalization of almost everything. A lot more comes through the banking system. You got debit cards, credit card, UPI, RuPay, you name it. And then you talk about prices going up. Yes, they do go up. You remember the old Nokia 800 to 1,000 rupees? That was purely just one telephone, nothing else. No camera, nothing. But it released a whole population, a whole generation. The amount of work they could now attend to, they could earn all of a sudden. You and I don't understand it. But I have seen those people. One what's it called, landline. That number, they would have to go there every afternoon or every morning to check where they were needed. Now, once they'd gone there, they had to wait till coming back. Was there any other place where they were needed? With this mobile phone, they were in touch 24/7. Now that was just 1100 or 1000 rupees. You see this one? This is a smartphone. This now costs probably about 70 or 80,000. It's an Apple type. It's a couple of years old, maybe a year old. Now, you want either the plain thing or you want this. This has a camera. It has a hard disk which, 128 GB. It has speed. It has more than one, possibly two SIM cards in it. You can have two telephone numbers on this. This just is one thing. It is also almost a laptop, a personal computer. You can take printouts from this directly. I mean, this is almost an all-in-one. Now you expect this at 1100, you won't get it at that price. You can't. It's like this, you buy a Maruti 800 or a Swift, the smaller one, 6-7 lakhs maximum. But you want to drive around and all the luxuries of a Jaguar, which costs 1.3 crores. And then you say, oh, the price of cars have gone up. What kind of nonsense is that? You want a one-room apartment? Or do you want a 4,000 square foot penthouse suite? The one-room apartment may cost you 10 lakhs. The penthouse suite may cost you 10 crores. And you're talking to me about, and talking to everybody about, oh, the price rise. Modi can't handle it. It's not so much prices that have gone up, it's your needs, your requirements that have gone up. You want everything, but you don't want to pay for it, Mr. Rathi, or you, Mr. Prakash Raj. Who has been feeding you this kind of rubbish? This totally pro-Congress and DMK type rubbish. Who? Is it the Open Society Foundation? Or is it the Ford Foundation? Which again is a front for the CIA. We know that. The whole world knows it now. So what kind of nonsense are you trying to put into our heads? Trying to influence the election as it is. Why don't you tell the truth for a change? The Congress in 70 years did almost nothing. They kept people totally illiterate if they could. Whereas this government has got them empowered. This, for instance, the smartphone. How many people have it? Almost every school kid has one now. Not the 1100 rupee one, but this smartphone. Try living without this. You can't. Because this has taken over your lives. It costs, yes. Now you get a smartphone, it can cost anything between 10,000 rupees, and the top of the line model today, an Apple 15 Pro Max, 1.5 lakhs. That's 150,000. There's quite a range there. Just like motor cars or anything else. I mean, this you do your banking with this. You don't need to go to the bank, you can net banking. You understand what this thing is. But you don't want to pay for it. Oh, the prices have gone up. You buy a packet of chips, 20 rupees. There's only about 50 grams of potatoes in there. Minuscule amount of spices. The major cost of that packet is the packaging which you throw away. And then you say, oh, expenses have gone up. They haven't gone up, you're throwing it away in the dustbin. When are you going to learn? Certainly in our days, when we were young, what could you buy? Nothing. Even a TV was the old black and white thing. And that didn't come until I was, what? Until I was 18 or 20. Before that, you had one of those big wooden boxes called a radio. There were no transistors then. So what could you buy? Yes, life was not very expensive. There's very little you could do. You had to learn to keep yourself going, to keep yourself amused. You don't anymore. Just make idle chatter like this and try and pull people down. You're helping Rahul Gandhi and such monsters to drag India back 50 years, as their manifesto has revealed. Now please, Mr. Rathi, and please, Mr. Prakash Raj, if you can't find something decent to say, please shut up. We don't need this sort of false information or disinformation flying around all over the place. Now Mr. Rahul Gandhi, he's come out with this in this Congress manifesto. Redistribution of wealth. What does it mean? Maybe he should start with his own family. Himself, his mother, his sister and brother-in-law. But his own family, meaning himself and his mother at this moment, where have they got their wealth from? For the last 4 generations, they've just been into politics. So really speaking, they should only have their salaries, their MP salaries. Where's the rest of it come from? Where is it stashed? Not just in India. Is it in Italy, Spain, the UK? They got houses, flats there. House maybe. Is it in the US, Antigua or one of the West Indian islands or tax havens? Get all that here. Redistribute it among the poor people. It wasn't yours in the first place. How did it end up under your care? But that you don't want. Oh no. I know a few years ago you came out with, we must get hold of the gold in the temples of India. Why? For the benefit of people in India. You mean in your own pockets? Or the Congress Party's pockets? Now, why are you like this? Recent policies. Have you nothing better to do? No ideas to take us forward? Why are you dragging us back? And the ultimate proof or evidence of your dragging us back is you want a caste-based census and then a sub-caste-based census. Why? The present government has done a great deal in 10 years to bring all people together and forget those caste barriers and begin to get together as one unit. Why are you dragging us backwards? Now when you talk about redistribution among castes and so on, try and get this straight. It's not just the wealth we're talking about. How about land? A man with 2 acres of land, how did he redistribute it? You tell me. And then your great friend Sam Petroda, he comes out with, because the US has an inheritance tax, 55%. We should have it here. Oh, great source of income. For whom? Do you know what it would do to this country? A person with 4 acres of land, he dies, he has 4 children. He can only give 2 acres to his children. The government takes the others. So you get very small holdings. and day to their children, only half of what they have. Each one ends up with 1 square yard. That is a farm. We went through a lot of trouble in the 50s and 60s and 70s to stop this fragmentation of land holdings. You want to bring it back again? Why? Why can't you go forward instead of backwards? Oh, I forgot. The Congress party is like something from Mauritius. It's called a dodo. You know, it is now extinct or said to be extinct. Why? Well, for one thing, it had no enemies. It didn't know how to defend itself. But it is known to have done one other thing, very, very stupid thing. It used to fly backwards. Not to see where it was going, but to see where it has already been. Which is precisely what the Congress party is doing. And all the opposition parties. By dragging us backward to see what they did 50 years ago. We don't want to know, we have to go forward. The youth of today wants to go forward. So why are you dragging us back? Now recent, very disturbing things happening in Karnataka, another Congress-ruled state. For instance, a Hindu sitting in his shop turns on a recording of the Hanuman Chalisa because he likes listening to it. And what happened? A gang of Muslim thugs come in and beat him up. Apparently, we didn't like what we heard. We don't like listening to it. It disturbs us. Wow. Muslims are allowed to do that and get away with it? And yet, all us Hindus have to listen to their mosques blaring out with loudspeakers every morning, starting at 5 a.m. 5 times a day we have to listen to Allahu Akbar. It disturbs me. At 5 a.m. I want to be asleep. And yet I have to put up with this rubbish? It is rubbish. At 5 a.m. it is. It makes no sense. And yet nothing is done to stop it. Muslims on a government-owned piece of land are given permission to have Eid prayers. Perfectly okay, secular society and so on. And yet, when the same piece of land is requested by a Hindu group for Ganesh Puja, it's denied. So you call this equality and secularism? Where? How come? A Hindu gets beaten up because he wants to listen to the Hanuman Chalisa in his own shop, in his own premises. That's not permitted. And then, recently, a young lady, Neha, is pursued, stalked, harassed, and then murdered. Why? It turns out this guy, this Muslim guy, wanted to marry her and she refused because he wanted to marry her and force her to convert to Islam. She didn't want to. Now it seems it is a crime worthy of murder because somebody does not want to convert to Islam. I mean, what kind of nonsense is this? And the Karnataka government is finding excuses for this? And this, Mr. Prakash Raj, is what you say secularism and equality and the constitution are safe in Congress hands, in Siddaramaiah hands, in Karnataka? Is this what you call it? Safety? Muslims can run riot or run rampant. And Hindus have to put up with it and bear the brunt of their anger. Anger for what? The fact that we want to remain Hindus? We don't want to become Islamic? Now it goes back to something even deeper. I remember in one of these interviews with the late Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw gave, he said Jinnah had told Mountbatten, look, You took India from Muslims. When you leave, why don't you give it back to Muslims? Now you see what the Congress has been doing since Nehru, giving it back to Muslims. Muslims are allowed to run riot and Hindus have to pay for everything. So where is equality? Where is secularism? As guaranteed in the Constitution. The Constitution means nothing. And another point in this manifesto for the Congress Party is quite clear that Mr. Rahul Gandhi wants reservations based on religion, which in one of the articles in the Constitution is strictly no. You are not permitted to do that, and yet he wants to do it. Now he is supposed to uphold and defend the Constitution. Is this how you do it? By breaking every part of it? Or tearing it up and throwing it away? What kind of nonsense is this? When are they going to learn? There is a Constitution. Understand it, learn it, before you start making these plans. Because right now, you're planning for people you know nothing about. You don't even know what is permissible, what isn't. Now with all this, I'm pretty certain about one thing. It is no longer appeasement of Muslims. No. You're handing the whole country over to them and saying, okay, you wag the dog. 15% of the population is being allowed to run riot and kick around 80%. Is this democracy? Now, as I understand the term democracy, or the word democracy, it means the rule of people ruled by the people, of the people, for the people, whichever order you want to take it in. It is supposed to be the majority who rule, for the benefit of the majority of the people. The religion doesn't come into that. All people. So why are 15% being so favored, they can do whatever they like to kick the 80% majority people? And you call this democracy? Yes, democracy is in danger, but not from the BJP. It is an endangered article in the hands of the Congress and the India Alliance, because they don't seem to understand or want to listen to what the Constitution says in letter or in spirit. It just doesn't want to. Why? Do they want anarchy here? Or is it back to different states based on language? Political Maharaja families. The old Maharajas have been sent out and replaced by political Maharajas. Do we want them around? Do we need them? Do they do anything for the people of this country? Or even of their own states? No, they don't. Why do we tolerate them? Why? Because you say this is a democratic country. I mean, surely democracy doesn't mean the minority kicking the majority around, or the minority ruling the majority. Surely it's supposed to be the other way around. I mean, please explain to me what is happening here. Why are Muslims being given everything? You want all this done and hand the whole country over to Muslims. Why? You mean 80% of the population mean nothing? And these are the ones who pay the taxes. Because the 15% are the ones with huge families, large numbers of children. plus illegal migrants from a neighboring country, millions of them. And you're calling the BJP or Mr. Modi a divisive force? They dividing this country? No. It's always been the Congress who's been dividing this country. They keep bringing up religion, caste, subcaste. And then it goes back to Mr. Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister during the UPA regime, who said in a public speech, Muslims have the first right on all of India's resources. Why? You mean 80% of our population has no rights? Or we're second or third class citizens? Tell me, why was there partition in the first place? West Pakistan, East Pakistan was for Muslims. And now you're telling us that Hindus or non-Muslims in India have no rights. Muslims have all the rights. We don't. And you're talking about equality as guaranteed by the Constitution. Where is it? So please, monsters like Mr. Prakash Raj, villains like Mr. Prakash Raj and Mr. Dhruv Rathi, please try and think about what you're saying in those videos of yours. Stop misleading the people of this country and telling half-truths or lies. We don't need them. We've already got all these opposition parties doing that. And they've been doing it for a long time. If you have something to say, check it out first, instead of coming out with this sort of rubbish. And you, Mr. Prakash Raj, when you say, not even one has Mr. Modi delivered on, you must be blind, deaf, or maybe even dead. If you haven't seen all this, there's something wrong with you. Maybe you should get yourself tested. Even that, you may pass with flying colors, because somebody has been fixed to do that. Anyway, folks, think about what I've said. We're already almost an Islamic country, even though we have a huge non-Muslim population. And we're being penalized for not converting. Why? When are you going to get together and tell these monsters, sorry, this has to stop? Time to cry halt, or else. Because these political monsters, they need reining in. And the only people who can do it are you folks. Well, folks, thank you. I hope you like or you understand what I'm trying to tell you. It is about time all of us started thinking of it. Seriously. Go out and vote. And vote the right people in. People who want to do things for you rather than for themselves. And please click on the video link, not on the picture frame. Spread the message all over, wherever you can. Your friends, your relatives, your groups, ask them to send it on. Because this is a very important one. The more people understand it, the better. Ciao folks. Jai Shri Ram.